Hello and welcome to That VidBlaster Guy. I'm Tom Sinclair here with another exciting episode. Well, I guess exciting is just, it's a matter of an opinion. We'll see whether it's exciting when we're done. But it's going to be a really interesting show today. We've got Zac Adams here from Tampa, Florida, who's going to talk about how in the world he managed to cram 24 cameras into VidBlaster. Something about a screwdriver and a shoehorn, I'm not sure, but he's going to give us the whole show, the whole story when we get to that point. Before we get to Zac, and I know you're interested in hearing what he's got going because it's really some pretty neat stuff, but I did want to bring you a brief update on the Logitech C930E that we started testing last week. I actually have two of them. We were trying to make them play nice together, and when we did, we were getting a video delay, a lag. Now, I can't tell you how many milliseconds. I can't count that high. But it was definitely, when you do the old clap test, it was definitely not as good and not as spot on as the C920, which is what we are using today. This is C920, and I'm coming to you at 864 by 480, 30 frames a second. And it does a pretty decent job. Right now, you remember here on that VidBlaster Guy, the main concept is that one guy with one PC and the right software can do a pretty darn good broadcast. Now, I know the text says it's an awesome broadcast, and that's our goal. We're working on an awesome broadcast, but we haven't gotten there yet. We're still the pretty darn good broadcast part. We'll see. So we've been trying to get this C930 to work because I understand, number one, it's a little wider screen, and so there's some things that we can do with that. And it's the latest, greatest, and it's always fun to play with the latest, greatest. But I had an email late last night from a Logitech engineer who said that he was very interested in helping us figure out what the issues were. It's probably a hardware issue. They're not going to release a camera that's not ready for prime time. Nobody would release a product that had a bug in it, would they? Well, maybe not. Anyway, Logitech is committed to help us work on our end to get this problem figured out. So it'll be interesting to see how that comes out. I'll keep you abreast of that as time goes on. I've actually got a conference with Michael, I believe his name is, tomorrow afternoon. So we'll see. And if it's something really striking, I'll put it on Twitter. Oh, by the way, if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's That VidBlaster Guy. And basically, I'll post notices about the show and things to do with VidBlaster. I won't spam you a bunch, I promise. But if you're interested in following what's going on, by all means, subscribe. We'd love to have you. And if you're watching us on YouTube after the fact, boy, we wish you were here today. The chat room's filled up with folks, and we're having a good time chatting about. We're going to have all sorts of questions and answers later, I'm sure. And that's the big benefit to watching live, is that it is interactive. But hey, love having you watch us on YouTube. It's really a treat. I saw that we just went over 60,000 views, so I'm really thrilled with that. Thank you. It's an honor that you would spend some time with watching me. But it's fun. It's fun. VidBlaster currently is in version 3.17, which as of yesterday is now an official release. So that is the second official release in the version 3s, the major version 3. I'm expecting that there will be other betas coming shortly down the line. I know that Mike Versteeg, the developer of VidBlaster, has been working furiously on the player module to make some modifications to that, and I'm sure hoping that the buddy, you know how when you used to go swimming at summer camp or something like that, everybody had to have a swim buddy. So you didn't swim alone. You had a swim buddy. Well, the swim buddy to the player module is the playlist module. And the playlist module is not present in version 3 in any shape or form. So if you're thinking about buying VidBlaster and you might need a playlist, you may want to hold off a little bit or see if you can't pick up a version 2 that had the playlist in it, because there is no playlist as of yet. There is, and the rumors get louder and louder and louder, there is something called a play out module that is in the works, and that will allow you to do everything you could do with a playlist, plus schedule things to happen at certain times, and I'm sure there are other possibilities with it that I'm not even aware of. So sit tight. That one's coming down the pike. I can't wait. I think that's going to be really, really great and help kind of flesh out version 3 and make it full and productive as it needs to be. Hat tip to all the guys watching in the chat room here. Appreciate you guys tuning in today, and ladies for that matter. And we hope you will pepper us with questions as the day goes on. Let's see, what else did we want to talk about before we got into things? Full disclosure here, if you're watching us for the first time, I am a authorized VidBlaster reseller, and so this show is actually a giant infomercial to get you to buy VidBlaster from me. So anyway, we got that out of the way. But if you are interested in upgrading your edition from the Home Edition to the Pro Edition or Pro to Studio or something like that, I'd be happy to help you with that. And if you're interested in upgrading your version from version 1 or 2 to version 3, I'd be happy to help you with that. If you don't need the playlist, version 3 is ready to go. And if you've purchased version 2 and you're questioning about version 3, if you've purchased version 2 within the last year, you get a free upgrade. So check your dates and don't let that 1-year anniversary roll by without upgrading to version 3. If that's what you want to do. And if you have questions, you can drop me an email anytime you want, tom@thatvidblasterguy.com. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. If you'd like to find out more about VidBlaster and what kind of features are in what versions, a great place to hang out is the VidBlaster forum, forum.vidblaster.com. And you can meet me and a lot of the other guys that know a lot about VidBlaster that are moderators and are working in the forum to answer questions and help folks get started with their project. If you're interested in, what kind of hardware do I need, what kind of capture card, what's a good camera, tell me about doing soccer. What about basketball? What about curling? We have somebody on there that can tell you if you're interested in doing curling, they are doing an awesome curling broadcast. So there are all sorts of possibilities with that. So join the forum and find out about VidBlaster. And I think that's about all that. Was there anything else we were going to do in today's show? Oh, that's right. We have a guest. We haven't had a guest in forever. And so let me give you a little prep on this guest before we bring him in. I had an email. I get emails all the time. It's really a lot of fun to get emails. And I got an email from some crazy guy in Tampa. And he wanted to know about VidBlaster, and so I replied and didn't hear from him back for a while. And to make a long story short, Zac is doing this outrageous internet TV show, which kicks off at some point in the near future, to the end of this month or next month, and has got this house wired with 24 cameras, and they all get switched by VidBlaster. And, of course, that made me stand up and pay attention. 24 cameras in VidBlaster. Here I am some days just struggling with one. How in the world can he do it? So let me bring our special guest in, Zac Adams. Zac, welcome to the show. Let me make sure you got some audio.
Hi.
Glad to have you with us. Now, you've got a show that's in pre-production right now called Last Boy Standing that you guys are going to get up on the air, as it were, at the end of the month or next month, whenever you work all the
Actually,
bugs out.
2 shows. We've got The Last Boy Standing and The Last Girl Standing. Same concept, just one with guys and one with girls.
Well, that's only fair. That's only fair. So tell me, let's back up a couple steps. How in the world did you get into broadcasting to begin with? I mean, I got into it through photography, and everybody's got their own door. How did you get into the broadcasting?
I kind of fell into it. It's something that I've always enjoyed, taking videos of people and just generally having a camera from way back. And I've played around and done some broadcasting online, mostly on the internet. And then we came up with a crazy idea about actually doing a live reality show, but focusing it, using a lot of the technology that is there. And I watch things like Big Brother, stuff like that, and I watched all the background on them, and particularly looking at their control room, and so many people and so much equipment. And it was like, yeah, it's like, well, using the latest technology, we can probably, I'm not saying do better, but just do it more streamlined.
Right.
So I've not been one to shirk off a crazy idea. So here we are, putting it together. I have worked on other reality shows, so it's not like my first rodeo. I have done other stuff in the past, but this is going to be one where we're using entirely cutting-edge technology.
Cool. So, all right. So you were doing video, and then somehow internet broadcasting kind of came out on your radar. When did that first happen? Can you put a date to it? How long ago was this?
I would say as far back as about 10 years ago.
Oh wow!
Yes.
Wow!
So I've been around with technology for quite a while.
You're an early adopter.
Oh yes.
Okay.
I always love the cutting edge. I'm a big techno geek.
Okay.
I also I play around with home automation systems. I like to build stuff like that, put together technology. Hence, when I started building the studio, it was like, can we even do this? Well, let's just find out.
I bet that was a ton of fun.
Oh, yes. I should have sent you some pictures of ripping down the office space to put everything together and figuring out how it would all fit together, how it would even work. Yeah. It was a lot of fun putting it together, and we're still designing and retweaking, changing stuff around right now.
Right.
Just trying to get it perfect.
Right. Now, of the two shows that you're doing, are the shows going to happen simultaneously, or is one going to happen first and then the other one?
One's going to happen first, and then the next one's going to happen about a month later.
Okay.
Just to give you the premise of the show, if you've watched Big Brother, similar kind of concept, but condensed into one weekend. So we will choose 4 unrelated guys or 4 unrelated girls. We put them into a house. They have 2 challenges each day. Everything is broadcast 24 hours a day, live. They also have to interact with the chat room for 1 hour a day. And there's going to be a section where they'll actually interact with the people viewing. The reason being is who gets to stay in the house each day and who gets to leave is totally 100% up to the viewers. The viewers will be able to vote, and they can change their vote throughout the day. So they'll get 1 vote per day, and they can change it around. But then when the voting closes, that's when we have the elimination competition. That's when all the votes are tallied by computer, and we see who gets to leave that day. So the interaction with the chat room is very important because these guys or girls are going to be basically begging for votes. They're going to be saying, look, you've seen how I've done on the competition. By the way, also on the competition, the winner of the competition, this is a nice little twist, gets awarded 50 votes. Not for them, but they can put that onto somebody else because it's the person with the most votes gets eliminated. So obviously, if
interesting twist.
Yes, exactly, and that could cause some comments and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, this is going to be
you're
interesting.
Going to try and put it onto your biggest competitor to try and get them out first.
Sure.
And then of course there's a cash prize for being the last boy standing or the last girl standing.
Cool. Well, I'm sure that's going to be a big hit. And I bet the other thing that's going to happen is that between the first show and the second show, you're going to say, you know what, we need to change this, and this. And so the second production is going to be, better, smoother, nicer, cleaner, greener, whatever the case may be, than the first production.
Yeah. They do have two tasks or competitions, like I said, each day, one in the morning, one at night. Now, the beauty of the other twist on this whole system is, and this is why we're using the IP cameras, is the studio is totally separate from the location.
Right.
And this is a key because this frees us up to basically be anywhere. As long as we have a high-speed internet connection, the show, each place is going to basically run out of a house in a different area. So our first one is basically, it's a rental house right on the Clearwater Beach.
Okay.
So we've already talked to the owner and explained what we want to do and checked the internet connection there. But yes, we're literally going to be able to use the latest technology on cameras and Teradek cubes, as well as some computers. But the heavy lifting is done back at the studio. So as long as we have a high-speed internet connection, all the mixing, editing, the live stuff is done back here. We can be anywhere we want. We don't have to build a big soundstage or use a soundstage with a big studio connected.
This is radical. This is radical.
Mm-hmm.
So you can duplicate this anywhere in the world.
Correct. And the plan is to be able to do one show a month and be in a different city each time.
So you got Last Boy Standing, Last Girl Standing. We have like Last Geek Standing?
Possible. We're going to see how it goes. I mean, obviously, if it takes off, we're going to do some combined, like maybe 2 of the top girls versus 2 of the top guys.
See, I could see a Last Geek Standing. You know, you could give them some technical challenges and...
oh, yes.
That'd be a lot of fun. I bet a bunch of the guys here on the chat room would like to be in that show. Well, you were kind enough to send over a video that shows some of what your studio looks like and some of what the tech gear looks like. Do you mind if we play that clip now? Would that be all right?
Ahead.
Okay, let me get that queued up here and make sure I got some audio on it, and we'll give it a look. Here we go, guys. Take a look here.
Okay guys, welcome to the studio. I'm going to show you around and show you some of the technology that I've built here and how it all comes together. This is the main control desk. This is where we mix all the video and the audio that's going out live. We can also mix in pre-recorded videos and general things. Obviously, being a live show, we never know from 1 minute to the next what's going to happen. So it's a team effort relying on the camera people on the set, bringing us the videos here, but also watching the entire house and seeing where people are going. It takes a lot of practice, but once you get used to it, you can pretty much get ahead of people and see where they're likely to be going next. Okay, just to give you some idea of what I'm looking at when I'm sitting here. Up here I can see all the main house cams and the live feed. Over here I can see the chat room, and I can also pull up other stuff that I may need on here, such as YouTube video or some information from the internet. Over here, of course, we have our VidBlaster screen, and as you can see, you have the cameras from the house all live here. The beauty of this is they're coming in via the internet feed, and then I'll go into that detail in a moment. Over here we have the main controls for the house. We have all the controls for the lighting, sound, and main cam override. We can control the lights remotely, the temperature. So if we need to adjust the lighting, we can do that from here. Over here we have our audio boards. Here's our analog board, which is a Behringer. So we can manually adjust the audio levels that we're mixing in. We have the microphone, we have all the video channels in the house in various rooms. The main ones are of course the microphones on the guys, and then we have backups in each room, so there's some audios. VidBlaster, of course, course, is the main screen. This is where we mix everything. Let me take you into this in a little more detail. Okay, this is a VidBlaster screen. We have up here in the top right monitor preview. In the center we have the main monitor program. To the right at the top we have the streaming that streams out to our server system. I have a capture for still pictures. We have a recorder, and then down in the center we have all the IP cameras. Below that, near the bottom, right here, I have the video overlays. I have a screen capture, which we're using right now to capture the output from this screen. I have my internal camera right here. Over here we have 2 video players. That way we can be lining the next one up while we're playing one other thing. And then 4 effects modules. Down below, the bottom here, which is too big to fit on the screen right now. Look at that. We have our video switcher, which I don't really use much, but it is down there just in case I want to line something up or check an effect. So as you can see, this is probably the first use of so many IP cameras. And if I show you this, if I right click and check audio devices, you'll see there's quite a few audio devices right there. We have a lot of audio devices, all of them on USB cards. To work around with that, but VidBlaster doesn't use ASIO, so I can't use commercial video cards for that. We have to use a lot of USB cards. So that's a layout of the studio. I hope you've enjoyed that and you've seen a lot of technological advances.
Well, that's pretty amazing. That is just, I'm practically speechless.
It's a lot of fun. Trying to put that together and building everything from ground up, it's just been great. And a lot of help from the VidBlaster chat room as well. Doing a lot of research, asking. Just one thing I will say, when I did look, I was looking at, of course, a system to be able to do this. I looked at VidBlaster, I looked at TriCaster, I looked at Wirecast, and I was getting a little frustrated with trying to do this with VidBlaster because it was so unique. I'd ask a question in the forum and nobody could really give me an answer because I guess nobody had done it before. And then I contacted Tom, and I've got to say, if you are looking at buying VidBlaster, get it from Tom, because not only do you get the support of the chat room and Mike who wrote VidBlaster, you also get support from Tom. And so it's like that double layer of support. And I've called Tom a couple of times, and I haven't bugged him too much. I guess he still takes my calls. So it's just that extra layer, and Tom's been really good. He helped me out initially when I was looking at potentially dropping VidBlaster and looking elsewhere because I couldn't get something to work. And Tom's like, look, let's try this. And he got it. And then 2 days later, I'm like, great, Tom, you got it working. Here's my money.
And guys, I have not paid him a penny to say that yet.
Not even peanuts.
Not even peanuts. That's right. That's right. Well, Zac, that's very kind of you. I really appreciate that. It means an awful lot to me to know that I could be a part in helping you make that decision and in helping you put together this project. And my part was just very, very small. There's no doubt. But let's talk a little bit about. I know the folks watching us live and the folks in YouTube would like to know a little bit more about the nuts and bolts. If you're comfortable sharing some of those details.
Yes.
I'm getting peppered with questions now, like, how in the world do each one of those 24 IP cameras get into VidBlaster? Can you talk about a little bit from the time the signal leaves that cam to the time it gets VidBlaster, where it's going and how it gets there and what you had to do in order to do that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I'm also seeing some of the questions in the chat room, and I'm remembering them, and hopefully I'll answer them in a moment. Basically, I have a suite of servers at a data center in North Carolina. So all the cameras start by going from the house via our Verizon Fios line up to our server there, which we run Wowzer Media Server. From there, they come out back here to the studio where they're mixed with VidBlaster, and then back to the Wowzer Media Server for distribution. I've also done some custom software programming with our Wowzer Media Server. We can do basic camera switching in the server itself, which means it doesn't have to come down to VidBlaster to get basic camera switch. We actually have, it's web-based, but we have a control panel, and we can actually switch those cameras live from just a web control, which means I could actually switch them from my phone. There's a few second delay, but that doesn't matter because at the end, everybody sees the same delay, so it doesn't really matter on that. So that's the basic path of it. Somebody just asked in the chat room, what is CPU load? Well, obviously, when I was looking at handling all these IP cameras coming in, I knew I needed a fast computer. So I did quite a bit of research and ended up building a computer on an ASUS board with the biggest, fastest Intel processor I could find. I haven't overclocked it yet, but I plan on it. So I've got one of the water coolers, and it's a really big machine, and it does nothing but that. Now, CPU load, when everything is running, is about 60%, which I'm actually surprised about. I would have expected it a little higher, but I'm running a 64-bit with 32 gig of memory on it, and Windows 7 64-bit.
Excellent, excellent. Good details. Somebody called me yesterday, and they were asking, and they had heard about the show, and they'd heard about what you were doing, and they wanted to know, and you know, I'm going to get this question wrong because this is an area that I'm not skilled in at all. But they wanted to know between, I guess you've got a some sort of router there at the house that the cams are plugged into. Would that be correct? And so that's going to basically allow you to pick that up on your end. So essentially, you've got Cat5 cable carrying 24 cameras.
I have at the house. We have a combination of AC wireless.
Okay.
That's the standard, of course, not AC as in power cable, which run into encoder computers. When the show goes live, we're also going to supplement those with live cameras. They're going to be HD cameras held by 4 camera guys. On top of that is going to be the Teradek cubes. So as well as the room cameras, we'll have those 4 main cameras sending the video back via, like I said, from the Teradek cube to the AC router, and then right up to our data center.
Gotcha. And so you actually have an option of switching those cameras at the data center as well as switching them there in your studio.
Yes, one of these switches, the VidBlaster Live output, which, by the way, I'm using the latest version of VidBlaster 3.17. So I've been trying all the beta tests, and they've been working. So, yes, one of the inputs is basically the output of VidBlaster.
Okay.
So on our Wowzer system, all the cameras are available as well as the output of the VidBlaster, the mix out. So if I want to, I can switch to just one of those camera streams, and I can switch that. Like I said, I can send a command via a web page by clicking on a particular camera button, and that tells the Wowzer Media Server to redirect one of those camera streams to the output, the live output stream, and that happens very quickly. So if I select then, of course, the VidBlaster stream, then they get whatever I mix the VidBlaster, or I can switch to a single camera. So it's also a backup. If something was to happen with the VidBlaster, heaven help if it crashed or something like that, or our internet went down here, I could still manually switch to other cameras.
That is so smart. That is so smart, because I talk to so many people that their main concept, if it doesn't work, they're sunk. They don't have a backup plan. They don't have a way to pull the irons out of the fire, as it were. And the fact that you guys have already anticipated that before you've done your first show and have had a lightning strike that knocked out all the power, or whatever the case may be. What are you going to do if you, Clearwater, Florida, that's right on the west coast of Florida, Gulf of Mexico. In fact, I'm going to be down in Clearwater in a couple of weeks. What are you guys doing at the house to kind of protect? I know Andrew's really big on power backups. Have you got power backups on everything? Is there?
We're going to try as much as possible. If we do have a total outage, yeah, that's going to be a difficult problem. We're praying that we don't have a show go right in the middle of a hurricane or something.
I was going to say, yeah, they have those things called thunderstorms.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. I've got to also say, I'm kind of like you, Tom. We're not CBS, we're not MTV, there's literally me and 3 other guys are putting this whole together. We are not a big production house with $1 million behind us.
Right.
But we are doing this on a budget. But then some of the great shows have started just like that.
Absolutely.
So we'll have problems, I'm sure. One of the beauties is I already have a house with some guys in it that I'm testing. This is like my beta test. As you saw when on the video, when you saw the camera streams, those are live to me. So I've already managed to do a lot of testing and working around things and ironing bugs out. So by the time we actually do the show live, we will have logged a lot of test hours. It's not just like we're going to throw it into a house and hope for the best.
Okay, I got to stop you right there, folks. Number 1, he's got a backup plan. Number 2, he's been testing. These are the rules of successful broadcasting. That way you don't get surprised when things don't come out the way you want to, when things don't work exactly the way you envisioned them. If you're testing, you have an opportunity to modify. And if you have a backup plan and things go south in the middle of a broadcast, you know what to do. All right, Zach, I'm sorry. Man, you're hitting home runs right and left here. It's like you like I've sent you a script, and you did get that script though, didn't you?
Well, we've got no. Which page are we on, Tom?
Yeah,
page 4 or 5.
No, but it just because so many folks are watching this and they don't have a clue about the technology, but they know that they want to get their church service, streamed, or they want to start a talk show, or they want to do sports or something like that. And the principles apply regardless of the content. Your content is going to be different than my content. Mine's going to be different than RJ's or Amnon's or Andrew's or anybody like that. And so I really appreciate you using this opportunity to reinforce these points. That's good, important stuff.
Especially when you're doing cutting-edge stuff that nobody's already tested before.
Right.
Like I said, just looking at the problem we're hitting right now is the audio. We're doing a workaround, as you saw on the video. It's like 23 or 24 USB sound cards plugged in on 3 USB racks to work around the fact that VidBlaster does not, for some reason, use a standard that all the digital audio workstations use. So every single digital audio workstation I've looked at will not work with it because they expect ASIO or something similar, and it's just not compatible.
Well, I can't thank you enough for bringing that up, because I think that's going to help us push that part of the VidBlaster project forward.
I do know that Mike, who wrote VidBlaster, who's an amazing guy and a very talented person to be able to put this together, has said he doesn't want to mess with the audio, and I quite understand that. But he should give us the tools so that we can plug in one of the commercial, especially at the broadcast level. If we're buying a broadcast version of this, we're using it for some pretty heavy lifting, if church service or something like that, it would be nice to be able to marry it with some sort of digital audio workstation.
Right.
Because right now I'm having to use USBs running into an analog mixer, which seems, considering the technology on the video side, it's very antiquated.
Yeah, it's the technical version. I mean, excuse me, the high tech version of duct tape. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. One of the Mike asked, what is the business model for the project? Well, it's going to be a lot, like I said, all the people watching get to vote. So they will be signing up, just like on the Big Brother, you can sign up to watch the web feeds. You'll be able to do that here. So that's where our income will be coming. And we're also looking to package the show for Bravo or Logo or one of the smaller networks, and hopefully sell it to them after the fact. Once we got our first one off the ground, it should be a lot easier to do. We will also be, one of the caveats on the competitions that the people will have is we are selling what we call VIP viewerships. And you pay a little extra to watch the show as a VIP viewer, but you get more voting power. Plus, this is one of the big twists, if during one of the competitions, one of the contestants gets stuck, they're going to be able to signal to everybody watching that they need help. Now, one of those 10 contestants have a special 800 phone number, and they can choose or not to actually call in and offer help from the outside to that contestant. So when that contestant signals that he needs help, he might not get help. Nobody might want him to win, or he may get help. So that's a choice, because each of the VIP viewers only get one call per show. So you got to decide who they want to help and if they want to help at all.
Oh, that is too cool. So all right. So how much is a VIP viewer?
We haven't scheduled the exact price yet. VIP viewer might be $59.
Okay, I was thinking 99, but I was in the right ballpark. It's not going to be $19.95, right?
No. That's it's going to be about $29 per viewer to watch the entire show, which of course, like I said, lasts over a long weekend.
So this is pay-per-view. Okay,
yes,
great.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah. So that's how we're going to generate the money to cover that and the prize money.
Okay. Well, okay. So if you guys come out with no dollars at the end of this, hey, that's not too bad because you didn't lose money.
Correct.
And you've got you've got something in the can that you can show folks, hey, this is what we can do. And you've used a whole lot of new technology in the process. Oh, man. I bet you have an offer before you even finish your first show.
Well, judging by the interest and the marketing we've already done, we've got a lot of people who are interested in the show. Everyone seems to get excited when I explain the concept of it and how it's going to work and the viewer interaction. We're just finishing off a lot of background technology with the voting system, and that's just going to blow everyone's socks off. I have a very, very talented programmer on board on our team that is working on that, and just some of the tests that we've been doing is amazing. With the whole voting, it's going to be live, interactive. It's just taking the best technology we've found and then improving on it.
Zac, I think the concept that you guys are working with is going to be something that you're going to be, I mean, obviously once you get the technology down, then technology is just technology. I mean, it doesn't matter what the content is. But, you can take this, and I'm here in the state of Alabama, so for folks outside of the South or outside of the United States, we have two colleges here in the state that are very, very competitive with each other. One is called the University of Alabama. The other is called Auburn University, Auburn, Alabama. And they both have football teams. Now, this is not football like soccer in Europe and the rest of the world. This is American football. And once you get outside of our state, nobody cares. But inside our state, it is a religion. So I could see you could take this same concept and put, two Auburn fans and two Alabama fans in the same house and let them duke it out for a weekend, and you could sell that out in the state of Alabama. You could probably do the same thing in California with, you know, UCLA and Southern Cal, or do it in Texas with Texas A&M and Texas University of Texas, and just replicate this across the country.
Exactly.
On whatever the interest was. You know, it could be politics, it could be religion, it could be sports, it could be, you know, almost whatever. This is a stroke of genius. I'm impressed.
And that's
wow.
the key, because all the heavy lifting is done here at the central location. The actual location of the house is basically a rental house.
Anywhere.
So
yes,
it's very easy to do that. We can just find a really nice vacation home up there, and we're good to go. As long as it's got a high-speed data connection to the house, which a lot does, yeah, we're good to go. That's the idea. That's why we developed the system with all the IP cameras. And that's why when I came to you and said, I need like 24 IP cameras running on this, and you're like, you're crazy. What are you going to do that for? This is why. Because we don't have to take the studio to the location.
Right, right. And it's a semi-permanent installation, so you've got, you know.
It's definitely a permanent installation.
Right. Now, can you talk about any of the specifics of which cameras you're using?
Well, I told you we're using the Teradek cubes.
Right.
For and then I like the Sony HDR FX1s. I'm partial to those. They're one of the earlier HD cameras that still use tape. However, those of course are going to have the Teradek cubes on them.
Right.
So that doesn't matter. And then a variation of other cameras. We're actually going to use a couple of the Logitech C920s for the basic room shots. So again, for a basic shot that doesn't have a lot of people running around, or we don't need to move stuff, we can use that connected to a computer. So again, we're not looking at doing $1 million setups here, but with the latest technology, we can produce a show using these smaller cameras, which is comparable with what you see on TV. I was very impressed the other day. I was watching a general show on MTV, and it was like a documentary. And some of the shots they had was from a little still camera using video. And I was just amazed because the quality was just the same as the regular HD cameras that you would see on the big shows. So technology has come to the point where the smaller cameras, cheap ones, can produce the same technology and the same quality picture as those big cameras that the big studios are now using, or still using.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right, what else? Oh, for those of you that might be joining us late, I can't help, but I've just got to, let's see if I can just pop this on the screen here for just a second. This is this is what Zac is doing with VidBlaster. Oh my goodness, I can't even count that high. I mean,
yeah, if you notice, some of the cameras are not on because those either weren't in operation at that particular moment, or there was just nothing going on, so I didn't need those up and running.
That is just outstanding. I'm speechless. It's too cool. All right, Zac. So here's the next question. What's the technology limit in terms of cameras then? Can we do 50?
I think we would need a bigger processor, considering I'm already running up to about 60% CPU.
Okay.
But yes, I mean, technically, as long as we're got enough bandwidth coming in, there should be no reason why you couldn't do 50.
Okay. So
I'd need a really big screen, though.
Yeah, that's right.
You saw the bar at the bottom.
Yes.
Switch bar, yeah.
Well, and you can, if you haven't seen it already, I did a video a couple of months back on how to spread VidBlaster out over multiple monitors. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely easy. Well, all right. So tell us a little bit about your PC. It's a hex core?
Yes, it's an Intel Pentium. 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 I win. I believe it's an i7.
Okay.
I can't remember the exact spec, but I got 32 gig of memory. I'm running Windows 7 64-bit.
Okay.
I've used one of the radiator systems, the water cooled, because I wanted to make sure that I could overclock this. And I'm using an ASUS board because I've had good luck in the past with ASUS boards,
Sure.
being very robust.
Right.
I believe it has an Intel chipset as well, so
Okay.
it matches. And then I just bought a big case, so there's lots of cooling in there.
Right.
That handles just VidBlaster. I have a second PC which is slightly smaller. It's a Dell.
You use more than one PC on all this?
I use one PC for VidBlaster, but I want to hand the audio off to a second PC.
I'm just pulling your leg. I'm sorry. I can't help it. You know, I'm the one PC guy. Yeah. So.
Mm-hmm.
So
then I've got a third PC that I want to use for any video that's going to be coming in from the house, because we're going to have a second unit over at the house who's going to be doing interviews with the guys or the girls, and then the video is coming up here, but will be edited, and then we will drop that in during our slow periods.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And then the wall, as you saw, the wall of the monitors with the two big monitors and the four underneath them.
Right.
There's two PCs that run that, and it's split. One has 4 video outs, the other has 2. And on that wall, I can look up and I can see the output from VidBlaster on one, so the main one that everybody will see. On the other one, I see all the cameras in the house. So I can look up on the big wall and see where everybody is. The monitors below it, those are 4 monitors around my desk. I'm talking about the ones that are on the wall.
Okay.
I don't know if you can find a shot of that. But the ones below it show me where everybody is coming from. It shows the live chat room, and it shows the server load. So I can keep an eye on if our server is getting really hit and it's starting to bog down or anything like that. And I can also see exactly where people are coming in from. That's the beauty of the internet. As we know, everything is tracked on the internet. When you come to a website, they can see where you are. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, tell us what we're looking at here.
Sure. The top right monitor, that's actually showing 4 cameras at that particular moment, but that is the actual output. That is what all the viewers watching will see. So we can monitor the actual output and make sure that's correct. The big monitor to the left shows all the cameras in the house. So those are the raw camera feeds coming in, so we can take a look and see where people are, where they're moving to. If we suddenly lose somebody, we can usually find out where they are. The map on the smaller monitor down at the bottom left, that shows a little dot representing each person watching the site. So I can see where people are coming in from at any given time in the world. I can see where, across the day, where people are, if they're coming from Europe, the US, where they're looking. The one with the predominantly black background, that's the chat room. So we'll be able to see what people are saying and commenting. So we'll be able to keep an eye on what people watching are saying. The one next to it shows us more of the data of the server load, where everybody is. And then the one all the way over to the right, smaller one, that's running a program called PRTG, which monitors our data center server load. So I can see how much free memory I've got, how much bandwidth we're using, and what the CPU server load is. And then, of course, the 4 monitors in the front section. That's, of course, VidBlaster, the switching of the cameras at the server level, and then a spare one to show I can pull up video or find graphics if I suddenly need to pull up a graphic or something like that.
Zach, the monitor in the top right-hand corner, what is the source of that?
The source of that is the actual output from the server in North Carolina.
Okay.
So basically whatever I see on that monitor is what everybody will see on the live show.
So right now the live show, if we were watching the live show, we would see 3 cams and then a blank one in the bottom right-hand corner.
Yes.
Okay.
Obviously when the show's live, they wouldn't be that blank one. That I'm using VidBlaster to generate that. I just do a split using 2 of the video effects modules on split screen, and then I combine the 2 separate split screens into a third effect module to get that. The beauty of VidBlaster is using multiple effects modules on top of each other. You can get some very good, useful effects.
Indeed. That's awesome.
Yeah. What I'm finding is I use 2 overlay modules for graphics or titles. I have a screen capture module, of course. I have 2 player modules so that I can be loading up for the next play video if I need to while one's playing. And then 4 effects modules I found are enough for me because we're not going to be doing too many effects. Split screens or something like that is usually the limit we're going to be doing.
Very cool. Very cool. Goodness gracious.
Movie Buff said in the chat room, am I going to be using PTZ cameras, pan, tilt, and zoom cameras? My answer is no. We're going to be using 4 live cameramen, 1 assigned to each person. And then we're going to supplement those with fixed cameras in the rooms. So basically, I guess we do have a pan, tilt, and zoom, but it's human powered.
and with permanently mounted cameras throughout the house, you're basically setting it up so that you're covering the shots that you need to cover.
Correct. Because don't forget, these people are going to have cameras on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Well, 7 days while they're in the show for the 4 days. So when they're asleep at night, we're not going to have a camera person just standing there at the foot of their bed. That would just be really too creepy.
Yeah.
So we'll just have the 1 camera in the room. And during that period when there's really not much happening, that's when we'll also have picture-in-picture using a lot of the video that we've recorded for the day, the interviews, highlights of the day.
Outstanding. Amazing. I just, all I can say is outstanding, amazing. I'm speechless. It's just, this is such a great example of what VidBlaster was designed for, a series of building blocks that can be assembled in almost any shape or form to accomplish any desired result. And you've taken it, you've grasped the concept of the software, obviously, very, very quickly. And you've said, okay, I can take this and I can mold it into whatever shape I want to because this is the shape I need in order to make this production. And if, 2 or 3 productions from now, you say, oh, what I really need is a different shape, you're going to reconfigure VidBlaster to be that different shape, and it's going to be able to do that. It's
correct. Also, one of the beauties is, while you're live, you can actually add a module. I've done that when I've been testing. I've needed an extra effects module. I can add it right there and then. So, yeah. I really do like VidBlaster. It's just worked very well so far in my tests.
All right. I guess I'm going to have to buy a subscription to this show so that I can watch and say, hey, look at that. Okay. Oh, what I really, now here's a subscription that you can sell me. I want to have a Zac cam looking over your shoulder at your 4 monitors and your other 4 monitors, because I want to see all of what you see and just go, wow, look at that. Oh, he's doing it. And I want to see how you do it behind the scenes. It's just...
I might be able to do that, but you might see a lot of me cursing and pulling my hair out. When we've done some tests, like I said, at the test house, I arranged a party because I wanted to be able to do it where there was lots of action happening in lots of various places, and like, how will I follow this? How will I actually be able to monitor one person sitting here, like you say, one person with 1 PC, well, it's one person with a lot of cameras trying to follow the action and mix it live.
Right.
When it's not just one event. It's going to be very easy when there's one focal point of things happening, but if there's a lot of people doing a lot of stuff at that particular moment, to be able to watch and choose the best shot constantly. So obviously during the show, there's going to be more than just me. I'm not going to be sitting here 24 hours a day for 4 days.
Right.
There's not enough Red Bull in the world for that.
No. And I can also see, as you guys get into your 3rd or 4th or 5th production of this kind of thing, that you may say, okay, we've got 4 subjects. We're going to set up our our shows so that we're switching these cams on this subject, these cams on this subject, these on this one, these on this one, and then you've got a main director who's behind those 4 people who now can choose from 4 good shots instead of having to choose from 24 shots, any one of which might be good and any one of which might be junk from minute to minute. And that was, obviously it's going to take budget for that, but I think it would definitely improve that when the time comes.
Well, the goal is, of course, if the show does very well on the first, the second has 2 advantages. One, we've already bought a lot of equipment,
right?
So we don't have all that. Plus, we'll be building on viewerships.
Right. Sure. Oh yeah, and the buzz that goes along with the first show. Holy cow.
Yeah. Like I said, so far everybody I've talked to and explained the concept of the show and the competitions, they've really got excited about it.
Yep. I can understand.
And some of the competitions we've come up with are pretty evil. I mean, they're going to really put people through their paces.
Well, if that doesn't have anything to do with VidBlaster, I don't care about that. You can do it. You can tell them to jump off the roof. That's okay. I don't care. All right, let's see. The chat room has been really great about popping with questions, and we're beginning to run into the very end of the show. So folks, if you've got some questions out there you've been holding, now is going to be a great time to pop those in there. Zac has said that he will stay, for those of you that are watching live, he has said he'd stay in the after show, but would love it if you would put your questions in now so that folks that are watching later can have the advantage of your question and Zac's answer. That's good stuff. Let's see my question list. I know, not a big deal, but are all of the cameras that you're using HD cameras?
Yes.
Okay, so everything is HD, at least 720p from start to scratch.
Yeah, we have to match the video quality across the cameras, otherwise it will be very noticeable.
Sure.
As we switch from camera to camera.
Yeah. Okay, and any problems in VidBlaster handling the HD cams?
So far, it's been rock solid.
Okay.
I've left VidBlaster up and running on this computer for days at a time, just to make sure that I don't have any problems.
Right.
And again, I think one of the good keys about this is if you're doing a production that you will care if it goes down. Do not use your regular PC that you play games on, install all sorts of programs. Get a dedicated PC and do not touch it.
Thank you.
Resist the option to just load that one game for when you're bored, or this is such a nice PC, I'll load this great game, because you never know what it does to the operating system, and you don't want to have this thing go down in the middle of a broadcast.
And it can be the smallest little $29 program that can cause the same fault. Yeah, or even something you download from the internet that decides to install a test version of some antivirus software that blocks things like that. Oh, also another good tip: turn off automatic updates. The worst thing that can happen is the night before you plan to do a broadcast, Windows decides to do an update, and that update crashes your system. Yep. Actually, there was a window update that came down, I guess it was about 6 or 8 weeks ago, that actually caused a huge problem in VidBlaster. Actually in VidBlaster and in some Adobe software, and it just rippled all over the world. And, we finally figured out what update it was by number, and, if you uninstalled that update, suddenly everything was okay again, and Microsoft figured it out and rolled out a new version of that later on. But, boy, for, 36 hours, 48 hours, it was a mess. So that's why...
You definitely don't want that happening right before a show.
Exactly. Yep, you want your PC set where you can determine when the updates not only are installed, but when they're downloaded. The last thing you want is to have, 50 updates all of a sudden start downloading when you've just started your PC and you've got a show coming up in, 20 minutes. That will not work. That will not work.
Let's see, Movie Buff Fast, as a viewer, can they select shots? Yes. They will be able to, of course, watch the output, or they'll be able to select certain cameras, which will probably be the live camera operators. We won't be able to supply all of the cameras, but we will be able to supply about 4 cameras that they'll be able to select from.
So conceivably, a viewer could follow the one person in the show that they wanted
Correct.
to follow. Oh, that's cool.
That's right, because one camera person will be assigned, or one camera, should I say, because camera people will switch off, will be assigned to one person. So, of course, as each person is eliminated, there'll be less and less of those cameras.
Right. Got it. Very cool. Very cool. Well, I think we've about exhausted our chat room in terms of questions. They're all just back there like me going, wow, man, gee whiz, or otherwise. Well, Zac, we're going to have to close out the recorded part of this segment now and go off to the after show. So I hope everybody that's watching us live will hang around for the after show. But Zac, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on the show today. It's been a lot of fun getting to know you, and it's been my privilege and pleasure to help. That's what I do, and I'm happy that what little I was able to offer was the key to making all this work for you, because it sounds like
very helpful.
I tell you, I want you to make me one promise, and you don't have to do it if you don't want to, but when you get your Emmy Award, will you recognize me from the stage?
I will, if that happens.
I'm just thinking, okay, why not? We'll just get that plug in there. So 24 months from now, when Zac's up there and he's got that Emmy, and he says, and I want to thank that VidBlaster guy for making all this possible.
If I make it up there, I definitely will.
Okay, well, great, Zac. It was a treat to have you with us. Hang around for the live after show, folks. I'm Tom Sinclair. It's been that VidBlaster guy. If you'd like to touch base with me with a question about VidBlaster, shoot it to me here, tom@thatvidblasterguy.com. I'd be happy to answer your question. If it gets to be an extensive back and forth, I'll probably ask you to buy one of our support packages that you can get by the hour or by the year. But I'm happy to help you with 1 or 2 quick questions. And also, if you're interested in the VidBlaster forum that's sponsored by VidBlaster Corporate, you can go to that at forum.vidblaster.com, and there's lots of great information there. You can download the latest beta. In fact, you can download any of the version 3 betas and play around with them and compare them. That's a lot of fun if you don't have anything else going on in your life. I really appreciate y'all tuning in today. And a closing hat tip to my good friend Martin Kay over in the United Kingdom, because Martin has really been helping me a lot behind the scenes, and here is some of his most recent handiwork.